Hi there. Welcome to the SEO Game Show. I'm Paulo Andraus, and here we test the knowledge and speed of our guests to answer SEO questions faster than our competitors do spam. This is how our game works. Each guest has to answer 5 questions using Kahoot. They have 30 seconds to answer each question, and the faster they answer, more points they score. Assuming they get it right, of course. Each question is worth up to 1,000 points. Let's meet our today's guest. Welcome, Amanda. Excited to have you here with us to test your knowledge in everything related to SEO, really. Please introduce yourself, which charity that you decided to help, and welcome.
My name is Amanda Jordan. I'm the director of strategy at RicketyRoo. I'm based in Greenville, South Carolina, which is a beautiful place to live. It's amazing. I've been doing SEO since 2011. I shouldn't say that before I answer these questions because who knows how many I'm going to get right, but we'll see. I'm just going to do my best. I really do span the spectrum of SEO as far as what I have experience in. I would say that I'm probably more comfortable with like SEO strategy, looking at the big picture and figuring out what is going to move the needle and what's going to have the most impact based on the client's goals. I will be speaking at BrightonSEO in San Diego in, I think it's November. Yeah. So come see me speak there. A lot of people from the RicketyRoo crew is going to be there. We actually have 2 speakers this year, which is exciting. And my charity for today is Love Fosters Hope. So it is a charity, a nonprofit in Texas to help foster youth who have experienced neglect, abandonment, abuse. This is a cause that's really close to me because my husband and I actually adopted our son from Texas. So we understand the importance of that organization there. And Texas is one of the states with the most foster youth. So it's extremely important for us to support them as much as we can as they try to create better futures for these kids.
Well, thank you very much. That's for sharing that, and that's really really important. So, in a way, of course, not telling the other guests, but I hope you win. So good luck. How does the donation works? Each season has 5 guests in separate episodes, and the winner of the season will get to donate $250 to the charity of their choice. Who is making the donation is RivalFlow. RivalFlow is kindly sponsoring our season. And in case you don't know about RivalFlow, they're a new tool that is an AI content generator tool that helps you to answer questions that you're not answering, but your competitors are. So it scans your website, checks queries and pages that you're ranking for, checks the competitor for those, and then sees the content on those pages and creates content for you. Of course, it's always good to review those, but still, it's an amazing tool. I'm testing on some of my consulting gigs, and it is really, really good. So you're in the audience, go to rivalflow.com and give it a try. You'll be impressed. Now, with all the introductions out of the way, I am really excited to see you going to Brighton because I'm also going to Brighton, not as a speaker, as just a guest. But I'm super excited with the lineup they have this year in San Diego. So congrats on being a speaker and
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that I'd be speaking at 2 conferences at the same time as Rand Fishkin. We both spoke at MozCon this year, and now we're both speaking at Brighton SEO in San Diego. And I'm like, didn't expect that to happen, but it feels good to be like really sharing my knowledge and what I've learned so far in my SEO journey.
Yeah, congrats. And I know that I spoke at Brighton SEO, but in the UK, and they have a very interesting opening for newcomers to speak there, which I think it's amazing. So the SEO
Yeah.
industry is just not that bubble. And I tried to speak at Brighton SEO in San Diego, and they were like, no, the competition in the US is much, much higher. So just the fact that you're speaking there, you're already in the elite of SEO. So congratulations. Which It's now time to put it to the test.
No, no. I didn't think
I'm g-
about that. I should not have said that. It's like, I don't know. I'm going to humble myself before we start.
let's do this. I'm gonna share my screen. And since we were talking about your career, please share a little bit more about what you do at RicketyRoo.
Yeah.
That's really hard for me to say, by the way. And your
Yeah.
many speaking gigs and author in blogs, like you're everywhere.
Yeah. I during the pandemic, I got a lot of opportunities because there were a lot of virtual things going on, and I wasn't in a place where I could travel to speak. So I just said yes to everything, and definitely something I would recommend to others to do if they're interested in like contributing to the SEO space is like go get out there, like make connections, reach out, ask what you need to do to be published in places, and say yes when you get those opportunities, so you can kind of grow your own personal brand and what you're known for. But I have been at RicketyRoo for almost 3 years now. I'm the director of digital strategy. So I help with creating the strategies for all of our clients, and I'm actually the account manager for our most complex multiple location enterprise level clients. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy strategy. I really enjoy data analysis. So it's a lot of fun to do. RicketyRoo, we work with a lot of like local based businesses. So they have one location, like hundreds of locations. We also have started an SEO testing department. So we do testing of different things to see what will actually make an impact or drive leads a little bit more, because for some industries, it's so competitive for local, like personal injury lawyers, that if you can squeeze out a little bit better of a performance over a competitor, it's worth it. So we do testing to help our clients figure out what those little advantages that we can find that aren't as well known in the SEO space. And that's a bit about RicketyRoo. We also have a great blog if you want to go to ricketyroo.com/blog to read that.
Yeah, when you so an interesting thing for the people that are watching us, listening to us, is that when we launched an episode, Amanda signed up to be one of the guests using our website, SEOGameShow.com. And when I saw the domain, I was like, I know this domain from somewhere. And right after that, I got an email from the newsletter with the new blog post, and I was like, okay, that's nice. So that was a great coincidence. And if you want to be a guest on the show, by the way, go to SEOGameShow.com. There is a form for you to be either a sponsor for the next season, or you can be a guest as well. So it works. Amanda is here. Now, are you ready? Let's go to the
Yeah, let's
game.
go.
Okay, so the first question is usually very easy. What does NAP stand for in Local SEO? Perfect. So name, address, and phone number, of course. Let's see how many points did you score. 911. Not bad.
That was a
So
little too
you already
slow.
know. Sorry?
I said I was a little too slow to get the full 1,000 points. I was making sure they weren't trying to trick me.
Yeah, it's an easy one, but a tricky one because I put a lot of NAP things.
Hmm.
But usually, after every question, we have a little session where we can discuss the topics. And with every guest, we had a very specific topic: AI, technical SEO. But with you, because you're working in so many different areas, I try to bring one question from every angle,
Yeah.
if I can say that. And what do you think are the most important ranking factors for local SEO that business owners are just ignoring?
I think there's a lot that people know about. I think people get content backlinks, like they get those two parts of it. I think the things that I see that they miss a lot is the type of content and curating content that shows you as like a leader and truly understanding the needs of your customers. I've seen a lot of sites where they get all over the place trying to cover every angle of every service that they provide, for every service area that they have. And that gets a little bit messy and confusing, and unclear. And it also makes your information architecture harder to keep up with, internal linking harder to keep up with, all those things. And then it's, of course, also taking up more of your crawl budget. And it's harder for search engines to tell what page is the most important for a specific topic when there's so much clutter on the site. So being like really strategic about content creation and how those content pieces connect to each other with like navigation, internal linking, URL structure, and all of that is something that I see that is missed the most by far, really. I think people get a lot of like Google business profile stuff. I think a lot of businesses understand that now. But the things that are happening on a website that applies not just to local SEO, but any website are the parts that I see that are getting missed a lot of the times. Name, address, and phone number also is super important. Consistent branding across all platforms where someone can find you is extremely important because they need to be able to reach out to you to actually hire you.
Yeah, of course, that's true. And do you think that those type of business that try to trick within the name field saying dentist near me, Thai food near me,
Mm-hmm.
do they get penalized? Does it work for a long time? Do you think you could suggest that for a test, for an example?
I would not suggest that for a test just because what I see happen often, unless it's like a real variation of your business name. So, like, I have an injury lawyer client where their name is, I'm gonna just make up a name, Bob and Terry Associates, but their actual business name is Bob and Terry Injury Lawyers, and they weren't using that in their Google Business Profile. So we updated their Google Business Profiles to include injury lawyers. That's a legitimate use of updating that business name.
Mhm.
But if you're just updating your business name to include keywords, the problem is when you get reliant on that and a competitor reports you, or Google does some algo update that looks through GBPs and finds things like that, then you lose your main traffic source and your main revenue source. And the only way you can get back is try to get Google to change it back for you or to get your account reinstated. So it doesn't end up being, well, a short term it's worth it, long term it's not. It would be much better just to like actually do what needs to be done to be competitive. If you have a lot of competitors that are doing it already and they're not getting caught, like that's a whole different story. Whether you should do it or not, I think that's a lot more nuanced. But if you don't have a ton of competitors who are doing it, it's usually not worth it because you get too reliant on it. And once it's gone, it's just gone. And you're trying to find ways to get it back instead of doing the SEO work that would have gotten you there naturally anyway.
Yeah, makes total sense. Now, let's go to the second question. It's a little bit harder than the first one, of course. Ready, set, go. Where did Google review it? We do not understand documents, we fake it. Okay. Can you
It
imagine
was a
if
little
they
bit
go to
faster.
Brighton
I'm
SEO?
kidding, man.
You're getting it. So, if you were CEO for a year, not having to think about all the lawyer stuff and all the lawsuits and everything that's happening with the monopoly and things like that, what would you do if you were Google CEO for a year?
um, I would definitely be looking at uh, finding things that are working for other platforms and figuring out how to integrate it into Google in a way that makes sense. So there's the people are using a lot of alternatives to Google already that aren't necessarily search engines like TikTok, like ChatGPT. Figuring out how to include those in a way that makes sense. Honestly, if I were the CEO of Google, I would want to protect ad revenue at all costs. so, so like that would be the like the truest, realist answer. And protecting ad revenue is keeping people using Google over alternatives too, so they can see those ads. So that's what I would be looking for, a way to partner with those companies. And I know they partner with Reddit, and that's probably part of the reason why uh, they're being put under the microscope a little bit more again. Um, but without that being a factor, I'd be looking at ways I can include some of the other ways that people are searching into my product. And I would definitely be paying attention to the ways that Gen Z searches, because I think that's what's causing all of these differences in search. And like, I'm not Gen Z, of course, but but when I see that they search differently and I start searching the way that they do, I'm like, oh wait, this is better. This does make more sense. I do get better real answers from actual people by doing it this way. Like, I can actually get real reviews on a product, not like a article that has a bunch of affiliate links in it. So yeah, I think they need to be iterating, like, and pivoting to something that might be working better for search based on how user behavior has changed over time.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And I forced myself to install TikTok. And it's crazy how, for the first week or two, I couldn't bear it. Like,
Hmm.
I hated it. I set a 15-minute timer for me to use TikTok so I wouldn't go over it. And still, I couldn't get to the 15 minutes without closing the app myself. And now I see the value in it, like it gets better and then understands you. And now I see like SEO content in there. I see renovation, DIY content in there. And I have now trouble in keeping it less than 5 minutes, less than 30 minutes instead of less than
Hmm.
15 because it gets so good.
Yeah. TikTok is
But
actually one of the few platforms that can influence me to buy something because I can see real people using it on this, like, so like that's another factor where I think it's really powerful that Google should be looking into.
yeah, definitely. And I think the visuals that people are looking for now, it's video and images of real people using it, not like that photoshopped image of the perfect product. But
Right.
the I I also installed Timu because it's like the fastest growing e-commerce in the world. I think like Amazon is already bigger, but Timu is growing really fast. And what I really like there is that when you're in a product page that has video, they have this small thumbnail of video on the bottom right that if you click, then you see the demonstration of the product.
Hmm.
So why not implement the same thing? Of course, you'll never get in Google Search Console video is the main content of the page, but that's not the point. Like you're trying
Yeah.
to sell something, you're not trying to rank for videos on Timo.com. So
Yeah.
super interesting strategy. But yeah, if I were CEO of Google for a day, I would remove the fourth ad result and I would leave it at three. I think three is a safe number. Four is too much.
Yeah, yeah. And people aren't fooled by it anymore. Like, the click through rate for ads is very, very low. So it's not like it's
Yeah,
like really doing what they need it to do in comparison to organic.
exactly. It might be even hurting the ad revenue number.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Well, third question. Good luck.
What?
What meta tags, I'm sorry, what meta robots is required to remove a page after Google crawls it? I never saw reindex refollow.
There are some, yeah, yeah. There are some
Yeah, I was,
interesting ones there that that I don't think really exist at all.
there's always one that is completely wrong, by the way. But I was listening to Gary's, so to the search podcast from Google, and
Yeah,
Gary and John they were talking about crawling and how Google follows a page, and it was really interesting to see all the steps it goes through before actually going to the next page. So
yeah,
the importance of internal linking, it's not only to get Google to the next page, but actually to make Google understand what the next page is about.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think content writers should know more about these meta tags, like the meta robots follow, no follow, or the age ref, and then follow, no follow, things like that? Or they should only focus on writing content?
I think it'd be good to know for the sake of like, oh, doing a content audit or something like that, and you're like, wait a minute, we're not ranking for these keywords, and then you find that the page is no index, no follow, so that's why it's not ranking. So being able to like diagnose why something might not be performing content wise, I think it's important for that. I think it would be good for them to understand internal linking too, just because they can definitely help build that structure to support key pages with internal linking by understanding what relationships exist between pages, which pages only have one internal link but should have more, those types of things. I don't think it's like a requirement to be a good content writer at all, but it definitely helps someone who's doing the SEO strategy and analysis to have someone who understands the importance of those things.
Yeah, makes total sense, and I totally agree. I Let's see, how many points did you score? Oh, you're on fire. 3 out of 3. So you're doing great so far. Now you have another question, and then you have a question that's worth double points. So you can start, since you work with strategy every day, you can start thinking of your strategy. Would you like to go faster and trying to get all the points, or would you like to be sure of your answers? So think about it. Let's go.
Yeah, this should be an easy one for me. Right category, keywords, and script. Yeah.
Okay. 1-star reviews, I think they should affect more.
I do too. It's shocking that sometimes you'll see a business that has like a 2 point something rating in the local pack still. It's like, why? No one wants to go there. They made it clear
Exactly.
of that.
Um, Talking about primary category, do you think people should change it, or at least keep themselves aware of the new primary categories that are being released every now and then, or just stick with one?
Yeah, I think it's important to test them because there have been situations where someone chose a more specific category and it worked out better for them, or they chose a more broad general category and it worked out better for them. So it really depends, I think, on competition level in that area, the content on your site, and what correlates more heavily with what people are actually converting for. And that is like the main key thing for us. Like, cool if you gain rankings, but if people are converting less, people are calling less, people are filling up forms fewer times, people are scheduling fewer appointments, then that ranking isn't the greatest thing ever. We would prefer for there to be more leads and more quality leads coming in and being sure of that. So that's how we prioritize categories. So I think that's so we definitely do testing. And then for some businesses, like in home services, like if you're a HVAC company, it may be a good idea, depending on where you're in the country, that in the winter you switch to using heating contractor as your primary category, and then during the summer you have a more general one, or you have one that's specific to cooling. So it can be seasonal too, based on what's happening in your specific industry. If there's one that's specific enough for that, that can happen too, and can be beneficial for some businesses to use that strategy.
That's a great idea. I worked in an agency before, and one of the strategies we had, it's been like 15 years ago, so it doesn't really matter if I share it or not. We used to connect our Google Ads account to an API, so our HVAC's clients, if it was hotter outside, we would increase the bid. If it was chill or colder, then we would decrease the bid because we didn't want to spend money. If it's like 10 degrees, what's the point of advertising HVAC, right? So it really worked because during the hot days, our clients would be like swamped with calls, and during the cold days, they could just backfill the orders. So it was just
Hmm.
perfect. The issue is that they canceled the contract with us because they were being so successful that they thought they didn't need us anymore because the
Oh, wow.
system was working just so perfectly.
Yeah, they do that a lot. That's something that's not uncommon. It's like, oh, things are working now. We don't need you anymore, even though like you're like it was your strategy that got them there, and they don't have someone that understands it well enough to keep it going on their own. Yeah, that happens. That's a really cool idea. I like that a lot. I may pitch that internally and see what we think about that, because that's really interesting. I haven't thought about doing that from like a um, paid ad side, because I focus on SEO strategy, but we do offer PPC services too. So it'd be interesting to, if we could do anything with that data.
Yeah, let me know. Now I'm curious to see if it still works because now with Performance Max and all this AI is taking over the
Yeah,
advertising part, maybe the bidding is not as manual as it used to be. I really don't
yeah.
know, to be honest, but I hope it works. Now we see the score of your second to last question, and you go to the final question, which is worth double points. So drum roll. I should have drum roll effects here, but it never works. So I'm not even trying. Okay. Good luck. Last question for Amanda.
What is the H? Ooh, this one may get me.
Oh, nice.
No.
Oh no, you tried I'm a robot. I'm sorry. Okay, so it was I'm a teapot. And it's a funny one because it says I'm a teapot, I'm not brewing coffee for you. And it's basically I'm not my website is not processing your requests. So it's like a 404 that you don't have to, because on the 404 page you still have to load something, on the
Hmm.
500 page you still have to load something. With the I'm a teapot, you don't give anything back as a resource. So you're just saving resources. You could do something like if you're ChatGPT 418 and then ChatGPT gets nothing from your website. Just saying.
Yeah. Huh, interesting. Yes, not something we use a lot in the strategies for our clients. Like it doesn't really come into play.
Ah, maybe for spam, like if you know that a specific type of traffic is spam, you can answer with either a
Yeah.
500 or a 418.
Hmm.
So I just think it's cute, the name. I'm a teapot.
I've just thought like there's no way it's I'm a teapot. That's too cute and silly. That has nothing to do with that.
And I don't think I can come back here in the slides, but I think I put the image of a computer because the image that I had before it generates random images was a robot, and I thought, no, that's too much of a tricky question. Like you put I'm a robot and the image is a robot, that's too much. No, but very technical question. Hence the last one was double points. Let's see
Yeah.
then your final score. So Jan and Morty with 6 out of 6,
Oh
and Abby
man.
with the aggressive strategy of trying to be quick. Now, of course, because you're the only player for today, you'll be in the top of the podium. So congrats, like Olympics style.
I get first, second, and third today.
You started your week really well with gold.
I think that puts me in third though overall so far.
Exactly. So today you're gold, but overall you're bronze. But
I'll
yeah.
take it.
No, congrats. Like as I told you before the recording, I just freeze in these situations and I take 0 out of 10 questions. So I really admire you guys for first, no, for real, first for being like brave enough to come here and play, which is a show of your like positive attitude with things in life. And second, to be available to do this for charity, because this is just for charity. And I think it's really important for us to also think that we are in a position of privilege, that we're blessed,
Right.
and it's time for us to also try to give back a little. So thank you very much for joining. I think it was a really interesting conversation, but also a really great experience for us.
No, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. I like quizzes. I like games. I'm competitive, so it does hurt. It hurts in my soul that I did not get every question right. But four out of five is not bad. That's still a passing grade.
No, you did great. I'm thinking of something now. I think at the end of every season, and if you're still watching this, people watching from home on your phones, leave it a comment now thinking if the end of every season we should have Kahoot, but everyone at the same time from the same season. Then the competition is on. So I hope to see some comments. And well, that's it for today. Amanda, thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate your time and your availability to do this. And thank you again, RivalFlow AI, for sponsoring this season. See you next week.